Polite discussion. It's so different from what I read about on Twitter. All right, folks, we have a packed room, and like I said, I cannot imagine a better way to spend my birthday than to introduce. I told you guys I was going to work that into everything, right? I'm not going to hold it. You know what? God bless you for that. Oh, no, wait. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, it is my absolute privilege and honor to be able to introduce, oh, God bless you. Thank you, sir. It is my privilege and honor to be able to introduce this next speaker to you. He is someone I look up to very much. He is an American hero, and really his legacy stands alone. Oliver North is a retired U.S. Marine Lieutenant Colonel, #1 best-selling author, also syndicated columnist. I'm sure you've seen his war stories on Fox News. His awards for service in combat include the Silver Star, the Bronze Star for Valor, 2 Purple Hearts, and he currently serves on the board of directors of the NRA. God bless America, NRA. And he is also the founder of the Freedom Alliance, and that is a foundation which provides college scholarships to the sons and daughters of U.S. military personnel killed in the line of duty. He lives it. This man is an American hero. Please help me welcome Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North.
Time after time, I've done my sentence.
Thank you. My fellow conservatives, thank you for inviting me to be with you this afternoon. My mission here is to get us back on schedule. Dana, happy birthday to you. My birthday's next week. Hopefully, my 14 grandchildren will sing that song with a little more vigor than you just gave to Dana. I am especially glad to be with you today because Fox News offered me the option of being here or in Kandahar. I said, there's less gunfire here, I'll take St. Louis. For the last 12 years, my job at Fox News has been to report on and document the finest military force the world has ever known. As many of you know, I am also, and as Dana pointed out, the chairman of the NRA's Military and Veterans Affairs Committee on the NRA board. I want to just show you a brief example, a sample of what I get to see all over the world. This is footage shot from our helmet cams in the shadows of the Hindu Kush, in Mesopotamia, all over the Horn of Africa, the Philippines, Central America, the Persian Gulf, and the Indian Ocean. The stars of my reports and those documentary evidence of them are American heroes. And just so you know, the definition of a hero is not someone who wears a spandex suit and a cape. My heroes wear flak jackets and flight suits, and they go to work in places where it's 120 degrees today, in places like Kandahar. Real heroes put themselves at risk for the benefit of others. That's the classical definition of a hero, and they're totally selfless. Since 9/11/01, 2.5 million Americans have forfeited the comforts of home, absented themselves from the affection of loved ones, and gone into harm's way in some of the most difficult and dangerous places on earth. They are brighter, better educated, trained, led, and equipped than any military force, and now have more combat experience than any military on the globe. They didn't volunteer to fight for gold or oil or colonial conquest or the international community, whatever that is. They volunteered to protect us from an enemy who is dying to kill us, just like they did on 9/11/01. They have also become the protectors of Muslim women and children in places that never did, and they've offered others the hope of freedom. They are the best and bravest of their generation and among the most accountable, responsible, and committed people I have ever met. I'm here today because I want us to be worthy of the sacrifices that have been made by so many of these young Americans and their families. They deserve better than a commander-in-chief garbed as a Nobel laureate, trotting around the world, kowtowing to foreign leaders and apologizing for America. You know, we in America have nothing for which we need to apologize to anyone else in the world. Those young people you just saw on the screen deserve better than being treated like lab rats in a radical social engineering experiment. They deserve a commander-in-chief who can name our enemies as what they are, radical Islamists. A commander-in-chief who can say words like win and victory while we're in the midst of a war. And those young Americans that I keep company with in those faraway places deserve better than having a future squandered by the potentates of pork on the Potomac in their headlong rush to socialism, regardless of what political party they belong to. In the interest of time, Dana left out a key part of my biography, that I am the husband of one, the father of four, and now the grandfather of 14. I look at those youngsters as my offspring, the only legacy I can leave behind. I do not want their future to be determined by politicians who leave them a mountain of debt, unconstrained spending, ever higher taxes. I don't want their future threatened by a government that promises to solve every human problem, yet won't respect the sanctity of human life. I believe that we are threatened when we have a commander-in-chief who will negotiate with our sworn enemies, and yet announced yesterday in a broadcast yesterday afternoon that he will not negotiate with a loyal opposition in Washington, D.C. I believe that a government that offers the protections of our Constitution to our enemies and yet spies on our own citizens, compiles enemies lists, and willingly attacks the Second Amendment to our Constitution ought not to be in power in Washington. A government that perpetrates frontal assaults on free enterprise, private property, and civil liberties enshrined in our Bill of Rights is not worthy of the people of this country. A government that disregards our sovereign national borders, our national interests, and suborns the wealth of our nation to globalists that would limit the use of our own energy resources is simply wrong and needs to be replaced. The incompetence and corruption in our nation's capital is rampant. Those who govern would strip parents of their most important responsibility, raising our own and educating our own children. There's a reason why 8 of our 14, the ones that are old enough, are all homeschooled. Government mandates and entitlements that usurp the care of churches, charities, and families for the least of our brethren isn't government. It's government run amok. In short, our government is broken, but we the people can fix it. The first 3 words of our Constitution. You just heard a great discussion from a panel up here talking about things like the Declaration and the Constitution. Well, we the people are the ones who have to make a commitment to fix what's wrong in Washington, D.C., and in many of the state capitals around our nation. We the people have to make a commitment to restore government that abides by that Constitution. In 1961, I raised my right hand and took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Every senator and representative and official in every state legislature and government takes a similar oath. The soldiers, sailors, airmen, guardsmen, and Marines you just saw on the screen took that same oath, but they live up to it. we need elected officials who will do so as well. The Constitution grants limited authority to government to promote and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. The checks and balances written into that Constitution were established to prevent government from running amok. The framers who crafted our Constitution expected we, the people, to hold government accountable. Yet they never anticipated that 60% of our people in this country would be the recipients of government largesse expropriated from the other 40%. We, the people who have accepted God's gift of freedom, must also claim the responsibility for self-government. Some say we can ignore the social issues in political debates and the like the definition of marriage or the sanctity of human life or religious freedom. I say those aren't social issues at all. They are moral and spiritual issues, and they should be a matter in our elections. If we are committed to virtues embodied in our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence, the same debate you just heard a moment ago up here, we will remain the most productive, prosperous, creative, and generous people and nation on earth. America's greatness was built on the shoulders of people who staked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on a creator who endowed us with inalienable rights and responsibilities. It's our responsibility to hold the present administration accountable for what happened in Benghazi, for spying on our citizens, compiling enemies lists, and using the instruments of government against us. Our task is to leave here in St. Louis and to go home and inspire our countrymen to reject ideas like spending our way out of debt, regulating our way to prosperity, or surrendering our sovereignty to assure security. I urge you, make a commitment today to assert the moral authority of free people, insist on the liberties granted to us by our Creator and protected by our Constitution. We don't want to become more like Europe. We want to preserve the freedoms that make us uniquely Americans. We owe that much to the young Americans that I get to cover in now 57 embeds around the world. They risk their lives in these difficult and dangerous places for us. We owe them that much. The president I was blessed to serve reminded us all that we have a rendezvous with destiny. He asked us to commit to ensure that government of, by, and for the people not perish from the earth. I was with Captain Matt Lampert, United States Marine Corps in Afghanistan. I want to show you his example of what I mean by commitment.
My name is Captain Matt Lampert. This is my second combat deployment to Afghanistan. And I just wish American people would understand there's a lot of people here that still believe in what we're doing out here and are willing to come back again and again to prove that point.
If we the people want America to remain the land of the free, we must make a commitment not necessarily as drastic as his, but we have to show our friends and enemies, and we have them, that we are the land of the free because we're still the home of the brave. God bless you, and thank you for being part of this great council. Thank you.